put together a resort town on the coast right down here at the end of 518 in 2094, and they named it Evergreen. Well, the 1900 storm pretty well wiped out Evergreen, and within 3 years he and his brother had rebuilt it and had named it Kima. Kima means facing the wind, which is very appropriate. Wind in the face or facing the wind is an Indian word. Kima has its own history. He built that 7-bedroom mansion for Mary and their 9 children. And years passed and she died. Lucretia, age 62, husband died. She moved in with her daughter and made friends with the 2 gentlemen who lived next door, who just happened to be the brothers of John Henry. And renewed that acquaintance and started writing him. And she's now 64, he's 68. They began a courtship of sorts, and she saw him at her daughter's wedding is when it all started, and within a month they were married. So they lived together for another happy 14 years, and he died in 1924 at the age of 81 in Pima, and she died in 1932. So this is John Henry Tiff. You notice the Confederate flag, and you notice the symbol right here. He's in the Texas Cavalry. It's the Magnolia Rangers out of League City. He's one of the few Magnolia Rangers that's buried here. Most of them are out near Hall Elementary. There's a little private cemetery, the Magnolia Cemetery, that Butler and all the Cowards and all of those are buried at. Not Coward as in Coward, the name Coward. I want you to look just right over here. This is the marker. John Dick. John, as you can see, was a Confederate veteran. You notice the medallion at the bottom. We have a celebrity because we have a relative of his right here who knows more than I do, a whole lot more than I do. He came from Ireland. He came from a family of soldiers. He has a lineage from Waterloo, from the English. One was an English surgeon in the Boer War. At the age of 13, according to the information I have, he came with his cousin on the Pocahontas to the United States. New Orleans, came in through New Orleans. Okay. He trained to be a doctor, but he didn't like operating on people as much as he liked operating on the land. So he became a farmer and rancher. He married Amanda, and I love the name of the plantation. The family's plantation in Mississippi, I believe it is, where he was married, was called the No Mistake Plantation. That was kind of cool. So at the time of his death, they'd had 18 children. 3 of them died.
He had 3 sets of twins.
Is that how it worked?
The first 2 were Jonathan and Nathaniel, and that was when they were coming across from New Orleans over to here, and they died shortly after birth. They were actually born at No Mistake Plantation. Then when they came over here, they were very standoffish to anybody, very, they had the uppity from the attitude that they had over in Ireland. They were kind of thought that they were better than everybody else. And when the yellow fever outbreak came out, they completely separated themselves from anybody around. They had armed guards standing at their gate, so nobody could approach the family. In later
years, survived.
Yes, yes. And that was partially his doctrine. He also said that he got tired of chopping off the arms and legs of injured soldiers, and that's why he kind of went to the farming industry, or the business of that.
Yeah.
Yes. They settled in Chambers County, and they were there having cattle and everything. And so there was a feud between another family that was there, arguments over whose brand is on which cattle, and his son was killed over in Chambers County. The family moved over here to Galveston County and settled along this area across where Waterford Harbor and South Shore Harbor is. They had a lot of land there, and his son owns a house at 2nd in Kansas. That's where he's settled.
That beautiful one on the corner?
The beautiful one in the corner across from the
schoolhouse?
The schoolhouse.
Cool.
That's his son's house.
Very cool.
But he lived to be a very old man and had lots of grandchildren, lots of crazy stories, but good old man.
It's an interesting family. There are lots of stories about them. Yeah.
Not always so good.
Yeah. And I was telling her my dad grew up with her uncle?
Great uncle.
Great uncle. So, didn't know that. Okay. So this is the Dick family. It's a large family in throughout this whole area. Oh. We're going to head very close to the meeting. It's where the 30 families that originally came with the man who's buried right there on the corner. It's like a 5 box. he had been in the Japanese Parliament for diet. He was the only Christian member of the Japanese diet, the Parliament. It was a time of anti-Christianity sentiment in Japan, and he was basically quit. He was a lawyer. He came to the United States to study. He became the president of the university there, the Christian university, and he came to the United States to study in a seminary, and was asked by the Houston Chamber of Commerce to come down to our area and to teach farmers how to grow rice. So he got a good idea. He brought 30 families from Japan. He brought rice that had been blessed basically by the emperor, and it was Shinriki rice, which yields much more rice than what they'd been using. Most rice that they were using at the time was imported, and it got like 18 to 20 barrels of rice from it. The Shinriki rice at 34. So he came, he settled in Webster. He leased 1,000 acres and later bought it. It's now at the corner of the freeway in Nassau. So they made some good, but I have been told, I can't prove it, I've been told that land is still leased by the companies who have stores there. And they're still getting their money. The Kobayashis, the Sabros, and all of the families that were there, many of them are buried over here. When the bottom fell out of the rice market, a lot of the families went to truck farming with the Italian farmers that lived in the area. And you'll see a lot of those names spread through here. He went to Brazil. And he lived in South America for 15 years and started colonies in the Amazon Valley. So as he got older and sicker, he went back to Japan for a while and decided he was coming back to the United States. So he came back to Texas. He died in Webster in 1937. He was still a Japanese citizen at the time. So much of our area's growth and the kinds of industry that we have around here and the multicultural aspect of it was because of